With the amount of dairy in this pan right now, we're basically making a cow. Hello, hope you're good. The other day I was wondering, what is the most viewed food recipe on TikTok? And I stumbled upon this. I hope I got this right. This is a lady called Tini Younger, who I think is from America and was on the Next Level Chef TV show. I don't watch TV. Maybe I should. So this was a mac and cheese recipe for the holiday season. I'm actually filming this in the summer, which might in some places be the same temperature as an American holiday season, but it is absolutely loaded with cheese and one special ingredient. So I found the recipe steps and ingredients online. I'm gonna give you some spoilers here. It includes a lot of cheese and cream instead of milk. This is gonna be extremely cheeky, but not only do I wanna try it once we've made it, I've got some ideas plus some additions from the house to try and enhance it in my own way to see if we can maybe take it to a completely different flavor town. So let's get started and see what it's like. So the first step is to basically turn this massive bowl into a cheese bowl, because this mac and cheese has 3 cheeses. A whole block of cheddar, a whole block of Colby cheese. Now I couldn't get Colby cheese, so this is double Gloucester, which I Googled last night in the supermarket was the closest thing really I could get without spending an absolute fortune online for it. And there's also a block of mozzarella. Now this is actually a fresh one in a little bit of fluid, so grating that might be a little bit grating. That works. But that is gonna be very cheesy indeed. I thought, what is the most viewed one? And I went down this weird avenue where like cloud bread was one of them, but that's the combined views of many, many videos. But this one alone, like at the moment, I think is about 130 million with like nearly 10 million likes. I thought, do you know what? I just really wanna try it just to sort of see what all the fuss is about. There we go. Wow, that is a lot of cheese. If you've got a dairy intolerance, today's video might not be for you. Big old tube of mozzarella. I have never grated this stuff before. Is it just gonna mush? It sort of is. But the recipe did call a little bit like the hacks video we tested where we found out about the pre-grated cheese where it had all that starch on it. It did insist on the freshly grated stuff, which is why we're doing this manual step. The sort of plot twist here is this mac and cheese doesn't use standard macaroni as I would pick off the shelf, like the elbow small ones, which actually expand pretty big as we found out recently. Tini actually used something called cavatappi, which is a slightly more spirally pasta, which arguably some people still class as a type of macaroni. I couldn't get that in the supermarket. However, it basically translates to this. This is something called spirali, we call it spirally. Basically the same thing, and this is why. Wow. The idea is that the sauce gets lost within it and you get more in a bite, which is something I'm gonna carry forward massively for my version. So that's why we're using that pasta. She put in a boatload of salt, so in that goes. I still can't get over how much, that's nearly a kilo of cheese. Okay, if there was any doubt in my mind if it was not gonna expand or not, check that out. That is absolutely ginormous. It looks like a massive M. That is an awful lot of pasta. Woo! Free facial. So this is where it's gonna start to get interesting. We're gonna start to make the roux. 3 tablespoons of flour and butter. And it's really weird, all these steps I'm doing so far, I've got ideas that I wanna put into my version, which might or might not work. Beautiful, look at that. Right, and in fact, I'll take it off the heat just to buy us a bit of time to explain what I think is happening here. Because going in there, this is a tin, I guess this is probably one of the standout things from this recipe, is a tin of evaporated milk, 410 grams of that. And at first I was like, evaporated milk, that's kind of like a bit sweet, isn't it? But no, evaporated milk is rather savory. In fact, it's got a lot less water content. Yeah, I think there's something crazy like 60% of the water is removed with evaporated milk. So it should make it smooth and velvety and boost a bit of the dairy flavor in there. Not that we've got enough anyway. But do you know what I mean? It should add a depth and almost like a caramelized edge. But we're not done with the dairy yet because this tub here is 600 milliliters of heavy cream. So double cream in the UK. I would normally do this over the heat, but I really like to show you guys sometimes. Wow. And to be honest, whilst we've got it here, we might as well just flavor it too. So in goes some paprika, some garlic powder, some salt again, freshly ground pepper or white pepper. So I've got an abundance of white pepper, I might as well use that. Plus some Dijon mustard. So that goes in there like that. Nice bit of flavor. Oh, look at that. So let's thicken this up slightly, but I'm sure some of our cheese will help with that. Can you see it's like a cauldron now, bubbling up like that? Oh, it's so much more thickened. Do keep whisking it though. I noticed some of it was trying to stick to the bottom. The primary scent right now, despite perhaps more of the paprika look, but the garlic is the most strong. It smells like garlic bread in a pan, which sounds pretty good. But what we do now apparently is take half of our cheese. So remember, it was about 750 grams. Still warm, we just mix this through. Oh my word. Let the residual heat bond it all together. Look how thick it is, like that pool, like that. It's like a curtain of cheese. It's almost like glue. That is that mozzarella doing its job. Right, we are drooping the sauce all over it. Let it find its way, coat it all over. Goodness me. It's so thick. It feels like I'm mixing a tub of paint with pasta in it. And remember, we've still got some cheese left. Like seriously, this could be one of the nicest things I've ever made. It's like proper comfort food. Spread that all around. Half of the other half of the cheese we had, so basically a quarter, and we now dump the rest of the pasta on top. Oh my word. I'm just piling it on now as we put the final batch of cheese on top. Look at this. Do you know what? I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to improve this. I'm going to try, but it just might be a good day all round. It bakes for 25 minutes. Also at the end, if we want, we can grill it for a couple of minutes, but we would really have to keep an eye on that to give it that little extra crunch. We'll see what happens. I was so fascinated by that sauce though. Fairly certain it was the mozzarella. It was almost like a superhero cape. The way it was just kind of like hugging, it didn't want to pour. It was like a constant waterfall of like cheesy sauce. This is starting to shape up to justify why it is so popular. Oh, look. Absolutely phenomenal, all bubbling away. Crispy on the top, so I don't need to grill it. We're looking for that sort of charriness. I'm gonna snip some chives on it as well. I'm really, really happy with this. I've got some ideas to improve it, but I don't know if they're gonna work. Oh, the cloaking of it. It's just kind of wrapped around the pasta. You can see there are still a few holes there. You know, this one here, if I just open that up, like the sauce hasn't necessarily gone all the way in, but it has clung to it. It's like it's been glossed in cheese. Let's see if it's worth it. Wow, how dairy. It is exceptionally creamy, thick, glossy. With all of that, there's a very comforting mellowness to it. I'll try some of the browned. I'm very, very worried because that is exceptionally good. It's very, very addictive, but as we saw from the ingredients we put in there, maybe not the healthiest. But mac and cheese isn't necessarily meant to be, is it? Proper comfort food, a very light, I've used that description of like it being glossed. That's like the sauce, you don't just lose it. It's not watery, and perhaps that's what the evaporated milk did. Maybe missing a teeny bit of depth, a bit more richness to it, which I'm gonna try and add. And I'm also gonna add my favorite thing to mac and cheese, bacon. So let's do those steps again, but I'll tell you the other things I'm adding and why as we go. This is gonna be quite the challenge. So just like before, we'll start with the pasta, but instead of our spirally, we're gonna do something that triggers a little memory for me. This is something called, I don't know, conchiglioni? Basically ginormous pasta shells, and we actually had this for our main dish for our wedding day. I remember trying to tell the chef, going, yeah, we want the the big jumbo shells. So whereas Tini's suggestion of getting the spirally to capture more of that sauce in between the tubes, which we sort of saw, if you've got these jumbo bucket things, and look, they truly are. I mean, they look like seashells, look at them. You're basically gonna have these individual buckets that you can scoop up sauce and perhaps other bits that we're gonna put in there too. So this is one thing I'm gonna add. This is a chicken stock cube, and I'm actually gonna put it in with the water for the pasta. It might not do a massive amount, but what I'm hoping it should do is impart a little bit of flavor as it cooks. We did the MSG video recently, maybe a little bit of added umami, you never know. The only thing I would probably say with these is because of the size of them, we just need to make sure we really don't overcook these, or they could get really, really mushy. We want that strength so that we can get like buckets of flavor. So I don't know if this is actually gonna work too well, Yeah, I'm literally at the top of this pan, so I'm gonna have to keep like moving this around for even cooking. But at the very least, this stock cube is probably gonna give it some sort of savory base. When it comes to the cheese, we're gonna go for the cheddar again, mozzarella, but instead of the double Gloucester, there's another one in the UK called Red Leicester. It's another red cheese, slightly tangier, a little less creamy, can be a little crumbly, so it might make it grainy. All these three, gonna be my cheese bowl. The one thing I feel it's missing, well, maybe two things, was kind of like that little bit more richness, a little bit more flavour depth to it, because it was like really creamy and smoothing. In fact, maybe the evaporated milk is just sort of some big blanket that comes over it, and no matter what I put in it, just makes it be ultimately creamy. Like, come on, group hug, you're all gonna taste like me. And the other thing I wanna try and introduce into it, as you'll see in a moment, is texture. We got a little bit of that by having that crispy top and of course the texture of the pasta anyway, but I feel like there's something more there. All right, so this is where we're really gonna start adding some flavor. You might better hear, I've got some bacon here, smoked bacon rashers cooking away. Not only are we gonna use the bacon, but we're also gonna use the bacon fat a little later on. If you wanna keep this vegetarian, you could thinly slice some vegetables, fry them right down, season them well, and even use like liquid smoke, things like that. But this smoky flavor from the bacon is really gonna add some depth. My real hope is that sauce covers it again, but we get bits of bacon in with those cups. Like, nothing against this one, because it's like amazing. But this could really take it up a notch. Lovely stuff. I'll chop that up, but we have got this bacon fat left in the pan. I still want to use butter, but I want to use some of this. So we can use a little less butter for our roux, but infuse it with the smoked bacon flavour too. That is half the amount of butter we used before, because we're back to the roux step. And as we say, we're going to make up the rest with our bacon fat that we've just filtered. That smells super smoky. We used chocolate butter the other day. I think we just made bacon butter. I really wonder what all this is gonna do. And it really is the roux, that sauce, that as cheesy as it was, that I wanna try and add just a bit more depth to it if I can. Well, that didn't take long, and it is smelling like bacon. In goes the flour like before then. Actually smells so bacony, it's crazy. Let's get those things in that we used before. So the double cream, the evaporated milk, the garlic powder, which was really obvious when you first got it going, the paprika that gave it color, salt again, and the pepper. This time for some tang, I'm gonna add in some Worcester sauce and something to try and complement the bacon. Rather than actually using the mustard, I'm going to use mustard powder, which is a bit drier. And I think that'll work really well with the bacon. And this is a little bit of ale. I got a pack of them for Father's Day recently. I thought, ooh, that should really, really give it some flavor boost. And there's one other thing that I want to add in. We did a video on this the other day. Some of you guys love it, some of you guys hate it. I've really enjoyed seeing you guys talk about it in the comments. And we did see in that video what we did to mac and cheese. This is some MSG, okay? Half a teaspoon of that. Let's thicken this up on the heat then. If this fails, we know that we've already got an amazing mac and cheese behind us. But we are giving this a blooming good go. So I'm gonna add in half of my bacon that I've sliced up and half of the cheese. You can see it already, the consistency changing. Don't get me wrong, for simplicity, you might want to stick to the original recipe, but this is turning into a right humdinger. And warning, this could look pretty epic. Oh my word. This is the only chance I've got to truly coat it and let it naturally fall down. Let that sauce fall down, but the bacon bits now should hopefully, with the sauce, fill those shells entirely. Oh my word, look at it. Honestly, it's great. It's so good. Smidging more bacon. Just like before, some more cheese, the rest of them on top. Come on. We've added so much more to it, but we're not done yet. I want to add some more texture. We've still got a fair amount of the bacon left. This is some Parmesan. 4 cheeses are better than 3. And really for some texture, some real crunch on there, this is some panko breadcrumbs. This is my enhanced version. I'll probably top it with chives too, but first of all, let's bake it. Do your thing, my friend, and we'll give it about 20 minutes or so again. Oh, the smoky smell when I open that oven. The crispy pasta shells, the bacon baked into it, cheesy, melty, bubbly goodness. But just as a contrast to the color, this is like a lot more consistent. Look at that, when you compare it to this. Just adding the chives on really, really does make it pop. This has been like really fun. I mean, have we ruined it? Let's find out. Oh my word. Oh, there we go. There is that pull again. The shells have scooped up so much of that filling. Ooh. completely different dish. Like the levels to that, wow. I feel like I can taste almost every single flavour that we put into that. And I don't know if that's the MSG doing that. I can taste the Worcester sauce, I can taste the ale, I can taste the bacon, I can taste even the 4 different cheeses that have ultimately ended up in there. But that is richer, tangier, incredible depth. It's less creamy, but far richer and like a whole warming, welcoming experience. If you're after a gourmet one, I would say it would have to be this one. It's phenomenal. That has worked so well. A little bit more expensive, a teeny bit more effort in there, but the depth, I feel like it's a bit more of a mature grown-up mac and cheese. Whereas this one was creamy and humble and smooth and just, well, gorgeous really. But despite all the flavors that went into that, this has completely taken it to another level, which was ultimately my point. Despite all the heavy dairy element we put into this, this has got like, it's gone beyond that. It's just, it feels so complete. And I feel like you would pay a lot of money for this one versus this one just being like a nice, easy midweek, just is gonna tick the box. So both work. That is on another taste planet. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, there are hundreds of videos on the channel from over the years to tickle your fancy. I'm sure you'll find something like either on the YouTube channel or indeed on my website. Try either of them. Good luck, and like me, maybe go for a very long bike ride. See you later, bye. This is what I love about it. This one here has been baked into it, and it's almost like a cocoon. It's encased the filling in there. It's closed it tight. The sauce just burst into my mouth. What a day.